Hey everybody, welcome to our CCNP Enterprise Quiz event. I'm so glad that you've chosen to take time out of your morning or your day or your evening to be here with us. Thanks for tuning in. We've got some fun stuff in store for you today. As you may or may not know, this month, throughout the month of June, here at Kevin Wallace Training, we've been focusing on just the CCNP Enterprise track. So we've tried this new thing where we're going to do some monthly focuses on specific studies. And so for June, that has been CCNP Enterprise. So we thought we'd try something new today. We've never tried this before. We're going to try this live quiz event. So this interactive quiz. So I'm glad that you've chosen to be here today. I was just looking through all the players. We got lots of folks joining us and still jumping in. If you have not jumped in, you can see that we have the address right here at the bottom of your screen. You can go to ahaslides.com/kwtrain. You can join that from another web browser window. You can do that from your mobile phone, which might be the most convenient. But however you choose to do that, feel free to jump in. And as I said, we've been focusing on CCNP Enterprise this month. And so that's what this live quiz event is about. We're going to pull some topics from Encore. We're going to pull some topics from Anarsi and just kind of have some fun and check your knowledge of that. So a couple of things, a couple of tips for you. I noticed there's probably a 2 to 3 second delay in the live feed that you're watching on YouTube and what's actually going on my side. So if you haven't yet, I would suggest go ahead and take time right now to go ahead and refresh your browser to make sure that that delay, as far as the live video stream goes, to make sure that that delay is as low as possible. Some of that is obviously unavoidable, but if you want to refresh the video that you're watching, then that will hopefully get you as close as you possibly can to being right on live with us here. So as we go through these questions, another tip is you'll want to pay attention to whatever device you're using to answer the question, whether that's your mobile phone or another browser window. Again, because there is a slight delay in that. There's going to be a 2 to 3 second delay between the actual live stream and whichever window or device that you're answering the question from. And the faster that you answer, of course, the more points that you'll get. And we'll have some leaderboards that we'll present, and it's going to keep track of everybody. So we'll just have some fun with that. And again, the faster you answer, the higher the points you get. And as we always do, if you've been around any of our live events in the past or recently, I've got some special offers for you today, specifically for CCNP Enterprise that we'll talk about later on when we're through this quiz, or at least when we've progressed a little ways. But we always love to throw out some special pricing for our products, throw out some free bonuses that you'll get nowhere else other than buying during this live event. So we'll talk about that a little later, so just stick around. And if you're interested in CCNP studies, you'll definitely want to see what that's all about. So with all that said, I think we're ready to get up and going. We've got, looks like about 75 players at the moment and growing. I've been seeing that continue to grow. So let me go ahead and switch over into that window. Let's see here. So now we should see the quiz window. And as I said, we're going to have about a 2 to 3 second delay, so pay attention to the device that you're actually answering from. And after we do each question, I'll take just a brief moment to kind of explain the answer to that and what that's all about, and we'll go from there. So let me go back into our quiz window, and we are going to get started with question number 1. Are you ready? All right, here we go. And we still have players joining us, looks like, so we'll let them get caught up with us here. But again, the faster you answer, the more points you're going to get. So let's get started with this. Question number 1. When setting up encryption in an IPsec tunnel, which of the following is not an available option? We have SHA, DES, AES, and triple DES. Go ahead and submit those answers. And it looks like the top answer was SHA, and you are absolutely correct. So when we set up an IPsec tunnel, common configuration options that we're going to see for encryption are going to be DES, triple DES, and AES. And of course, if you know about encryption at all, AES is going to be the most preferred option. It's going to be the strongest option. And at the other end of the spectrum, we have DES going to be the weakest option. We do have SHA, secure hash algorithm, but that's used for authentication rather than encryption. So great job on that. Let's see who we have on our leaderboard at the moment. Oh, and we have a double tie at the top for the time being. So we will move on to the next question and see how that goes. See if we can shake that loose. So question number 2 coming up now. Question number 2, which of the following features creates a Rapid PVST Plus Edge Port? Is it port fast, uplink fast, backbone fast, or BPDU guard? Okay, the answers are in. It looks like the consensus is port fast. That is absolutely correct. As you can see, port fast is our correct answer for that one. So when we use the port fast feature, that's going to cause a switch port to go active when an endpoint is connected, and it will do that without waiting through our normal spanning tree protocol delays that we have to walk through. We have those STP processes that typically have to be walked through in order to get that switch port up. But with port fast, we can use that in Rapid PVST Plus for something like maybe a point-to-point interface. And when we enable the port fast feature with Rapid PVST Plus, that is what we call having an edge port. So great job there. Check our leaderboard once again here. See what we have. And we still have a double tie at the top with 184 points each. So we will move on to our next question. Question number 3 is coming up. Which of the following sources of route information has the highest, or in other words, the least believable administrative distance? Is it RIP, external EIGRP, OSPF, internal EIGRP? And the time is up. As you can see, the correct answer is external EIGRP. It looks like that was the largest consensus as well. So great job on that one. So the administrative distance, if we look through all of these options, when we're talking about RIP, the administrative distance is 120. When we have external EIGRP, which when we talk about external EIGRP, we're talking about routes that are being injected into EIGRP from another autonomous system. That one is 170 on that one. And we have OSPF listed here as well. OSPF has an administrative distance of 110. Internal EIGRP, which means we have routes that have been learned within an EIGRP autonomous system, that is going to have an administrative distance of 90. All right, great job there. Let's check our leaderboard out, see what we have, if we can break this tie loose. Oh, and it looks like Luke is pulling ahead by just a bit. Let me take my face off the screen so we can see that well. So you see our leaderboard here. Looks like Luke has pulled ahead for us. So let's move on to the next question. Question number 4. Coming up now. What is the seed metric for EIGRP? Is it 20? Is it 1? Is it infinity? Or is it 0? And the answers are in. That was a close one. We almost had a split decision between 20 and infinity. And as you can see, the correct answer is, of course, infinity. So a seed metric, what is that? Well, when we redistribute a route, a seed metric is going to be assigned to a redistributed route by default if we don't configure a different metric for the route that we're redistributing. And the seed metric for OSPF is going to be 20. That's where the 20 came from. The seed metric of EIGRP and also for RIP is actually infinity. So great job there. Let's see our leaderboard. And Luke, looks like you are hanging on to the lead here. So great job. All right, question number 5. We've passed number 3. And bear with me a moment. I'm just checking to make sure everything's good on the feed. It looks like somebody mentioned, by the way, on the YouTube live side of things that we should have used the Cisco hold music for the music during the quiz, which was a perfect idea. I wish I had thought of that. It's brilliant. Next time for sure. All right, question number 5 coming up. Again, the faster you answer, the more points you get. Identify the IPv4 multicast address used to communicate just with OSPF designated routers and backup designated routers. So we have 224.0.0.10, .5, .9, and .6. All right, and our time is up, and we see the correct answer, 224.0.0.10. That's the IPv4 multicast group used to communicate with EIGRP routers. When we talk about those other options, 0.5 is used to communicate with all OSPF routers. We have 0.9 that's used to communicate with RIP version 2 routers. And the last option is .6. We use that to communicate with OSPF DR and BDR routers. That let's see here. Did I choose the wrong answer on that one? Yes, I did. I apologize for that. That should have been .6. The wrong answer is selected in this case. So I'm sorry about that. The .6 has definitely had it. That's going to throw off our results. I'm very sorry about that. So let's check our leaderboard. Unfortunately, I cannot correct that. And it didn't affect the top of that leaderboard. So again, sorry about that. That's the pitfalls of doing live quizzes, right? Check these over and over, and of course something slipped through, as that always will. So, but yes, if we go back and just talk that through again, 224.0.0.6 is the address used to communicate with OSPF DR and BDR routers. When we're talking about .10, that's for EIGRP routers. All right, next question. Up to question number 6. What OSPF configuration option prevents a router interface from sending OSPF hello messages while still participating in an OSPF process? Is it stub area, not so stubby area, passive interface, or totally stubby area? All right, time is up. And yes, looks like most people got that one. The correct answer is indeed passive interface. A passive interface is an interface that participates in an OSPF routing process without sending any of the hello messages. So this type of interface, we might use that. One of the appropriate use cases for that might be if we're connecting out to an endpoint, but we don't have any other OSPF speaking routers. So when we have an interface like that, we can have that interface as a passive interface, and that would allow that network to be advertised by OSPF to neighboring routers without sending those unnecessary hello messages through our network. And it would also prevent, it's also a security feature, right? It's going to prevent any malicious users from adding an OSPF speaking router to the interface, to the network on that interface and forming an unwanted OSPF adjacency. So a couple of reasons for that. Let's check the leaderboards. And we still have Luke at the top, pulling away just a little bit there. Again, plenty of time to get caught up. The faster you answer, the more points you get. Let's move on to our next question here. And by the way, I'm not sure if I mentioned it up top, but it's fun to have a competition, right, in this fun type of manner. But, if you're studying for CCNP Enterprise, don't be discouraged by this if you feel like you're doing bad. One of the reasons we wanted to do this is to kind of give you a tool to help judge your preparation and to maybe identify some blind spots or some weak points. So definitely take away some positives from this. All right, next question. Question number 7 coming up. Which of the following protocols does EIGRP use to ensure delivery of routing updates? Is it STP, Dijkstra, RTP, or Dual? And the answers are in. A bit of a tricky one. It is indeed RTP, as we see here. So EIGRP uses the Reliable Transport Protocol, or RTP, to ensure delivery of routing updates to its neighbors. However, RTP is not used to confirm receipt of hello messages. Spanning Tree Protocol is used to prevent layer 2 topological loops. Of course, the Dijkstra algorithm is an OSPF mechanism that's used to select the shortest path to a destination network. And we see Dual as well, the diffusing update algorithm that's used by EIGRP to select successor and feasible successor routes. So a bit of a tricky question, right? But those are the types of tricky questions that you might see on a Cisco exam. They are notoriously tricky from time to time. So let's check that leaderboard out. And Luke is still at the top of our leaderboard, followed by Robert Lopez and Clean. Great job, everybody. And let's see, can I scroll down? Yeah, let's scroll down and just give everybody a little glimpse. Maybe you're curious where you're landing at on this, so I will just briefly scroll through this. Maybe not all the way to the bottom, maybe top 20, because we do have over 100 players at the moment. There's our top 24, top 25. All right, great job. So moving to the next question, question number 8. Going to have a question about OSPF. By default, if you set an OSPF interface's hello timer to 10 seconds, what's going to be the value of the dead timer? 5 seconds, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, or 40 seconds? And the answers are in. It looks like the majority have chosen 40 seconds, which is absolutely correct. So by default, an OSPF interface's dead timer, how is that calculated? Well, that's calculated by using the hello timer, and that's multiplied by 4. So by default, the dead timer is 4 times the hello timer. So if we set our hello timer to 10 seconds, that means 4 times 10 seconds would be 40 seconds, which would give us a 40-second dead timer. Absolutely correct. Great job. Check that leaderboard out. See if we got any changes. Luke's still up at the top. Not a lot of changes, not a lot of movement happening. Still a lot of game left to play, though. So let's move on to our next question. Question number 9. SNMP version 3. When we configure an SNMP manager in Cisco IOS, which command option will ensure we're using both authentication and encryption? Is it auth, no priv, or encrypt? All right, time is up, and the majority selection was priv. 51 folks selecting that, and as you can see, that is absolutely correct. SNMP version 3. With that, we have both authentication and encryption features inside that. So SNMP version 3 is the most recent, the most preferred version of SNMP where we can have that implemented. And that did introduce the enhanced security suite that we're talking about here. Now, within SNMP version 3, we have 3 different security levels in iOS when we're configuring that from Cisco IOS. We have auth, no priv, and priv. Priv, of course, is the keyword that we use to ensure that we take advantage of the full suite that has been added to SNMP version 3. The full suite being both encryption and authentication. So great job, everybody. Let's see our leaderboard. Take a look at that once again. And there we go. We have a little bit of movement up at the top in our top 3. So with that said, let's go on to question number 10. We're going to be talking about extended ACLs in number 10. Which type of access control list should be placed as close to the source as possible? Is it a standard ACL? Is it an extended ACL? Is it a source ACL? Or is it a destination ACL? All right, time's up. Let's check it out. And looks like most people chose extended ACL. Absolutely correct. And if you were listening close, I actually accidentally gave away the answer to that question when I said we were going to be talking about extended ACLs. I meant to say only ACLs. So that was a freebie on me. Extended ACL is absolutely correct. Extended ACLs can filter between protocol types. They can match traffic based on source and destination IP addressing. And because of the ability to see the IP addressing in that way, it's a best practice recommendation to place an extended ACL as close to the source as possible in order to stop that traffic early on as it's traveling through the network. And the reason we want to do that is it makes sure that any unwanted traffic isn't taking up unnecessary network bandwidth. If we know we're not going out to particular destinations, then the sooner we can stop it, the more bandwidth we're going to save. And now when we're talking about standard ACLs, the opposite is actually true. The best practice recommendation for a standard ACL is to place that as close to the destination as possible. All right, back to our leaderboard here, see what we got. And a little bit of movement. Second place is definitely tightening up. So let's move on to the next question. Question number 11. By the way, I see a little bit in our chat. I see a few people on the YouTube side of things just asking, hey, how can I join this? And if you look right up at the top, along the top of your screen, you'll see a link to ahaslides.com/kwtrain. So you can go out to that URL if you're joining late, and you can still jump in and begin the game. So just an FYI for those who are asking. And on to the next question. Question number 11. Which encryption standard is leveraged by WPA2 and WPA3 for more advanced encryption and protection? Is it SSL, TKIP, AES, or SHA? And our time is up. The correct answer is AES. And the majority looks like they have chosen that one, so that is correct. When we're talking about encryption standards, TKIP and AES are two of those that are leveraged by WPA for securing a wireless network. The TKIP protocol, Temporal Key Integrity Protocol, that is the original standard that was used by WPA, which combined a key string. It combined that with the SSID in order to generate unique encryption keys. Now this, of course, the older WPA standard is susceptible to attacks. So WPA2 and WPA3 moved to advanced encryption, which uses AES, Advanced Encryption Standard. That improved the encryption capabilities by using a more advanced algorithm, right? So with our algorithms, the stronger they are, the harder they are to crack, the more security that we have inherently. So great job there. Let's check out our leaderboard here once again. And a little bit of movement there, but looks like Luke is still holding strong here. We're probably a third of the way through our questions, so still plenty of time to catch up and overtake anybody. So let's move on to question number 12. What is the default reference bandwidth used by OSPF to calculate the cost? Is it 100 kilobits per second, 100 megabits per second, 1 gigabit per second, or 10 gigabits per second? And time is up. We can see the correct answer is 100 megabits per second, the overwhelmingly favorite option. So great job there. That is absolutely correct. OSPF calculates the cost of an interface by dividing the interface speed by OSPF's reference bandwidth. That's how the cost is calculated. So the default reference bandwidth used by OSPF is 100 megabits per second, as we see here. Now, since the cost must be an integer value, interface speeds of 100 megabits or greater are all going to have a cost of 1 by default. So it's a best practice recommendation to set OSPF's reference bandwidth to at least the bandwidth amount of the highest speed interface that is used by OSPF in the network. So just a note there about setting those reference bandwidths and setting the cost. Great job, everybody. Let's check the leaderboard out here. Take my face off the top of that. And we still have, looks like Luke, Robert, and Clean with some close folks down in the top 6. I'll scroll through these top 10 to 20 just to give you an idea in case you're wondering where you're ranking at. And there are our top 25 just for your reference. let's move on now to question number 13. What OSPF version 3 LSA type is used to advertise an area's link local address? Is it type 4, type 7, type 8, or type 9? All right, our time is up, and another tough one. Lots of varied answers across the board, almost balanced. So with OSPF version 3, we have a couple of new LSA types as opposed to those seen with OSPF version 2. And specifically, we have OSPF LSA type 8 and type 9 LSAs. So type 8 is also known as the link LSA, and that's used to advertise link local addresses within an OSPF area. Type 9 LSAs, which we call intra-area prefix LSAs, those are used to advertise networks within an OSPF area. So great job there, everybody. Let's check our leaderboard out. And there you see our leaderboard. Awesome job. Question number 14. In which state does a BGP-enabled router wait for the receipt of a keep alive message in order to completely establish a BGP session? Active, idle, open sent, or open confirm? And the answers are in. Again, pretty balanced across the board. The correct answer is open confirm. That's definitely one of those tricky ones. Knowing those BGP states is just one of those things that unfortunately you gotta take the brain space and commit to memory, and it's challenging. I admit that it's very challenging to try to memorize those. But in the open confirm state, BGP is going to wait for the receipt of either a keep alive or a notification message. If no keep alive message arrives, then the BGP state is going to move back to idle. If there is the receipt of a neighbor's keep alive message, then the BGP session moves to the final state that we want to see it in, which is the established state. So let's check that leaderboard out here. Oops. So we see our leaderboard. Looks like Luke is still hanging strong up there at the top. Great job, everybody. Let's move on to question number 15. Which mechanism within multi-protocol BGP allows BGP to carry multiple protocols at once? Route reflectors, VPN version 4, address families, or layer 2 VPN? And our time is up. And looks like the majority has it absolutely correct. The correct answer is indeed address families. So when it comes to BGP, lots of BGP in that NARCI blueprint. So you got to know a lot about that. Address families are what allow multi-protocol BGP or MP BGP to carry multiple protocols at once. BGP will default to an IPv4 address family if we don't indicate a specific version. And that would be, of course, dedicated to carrying IP version 4 routes. Other address families can be defined for other protocols depending on the iOS platform, including IP version 6, VPN version 4, and VPN version 6 address families. So we do have several options there. Great job, everybody. Let's check that leaderboard out, see if we have any changes happening here. A little bit. Looks like Luke is pulling away just a little bit. So great job there, Luke. A great job to everybody else. Let's go on to our next question. Question number 16. Northbound interfaces are what type of application programming interfaces? Yang, OpenFlow, REST, or JSON? All right, time is up. And again, looks like the majority got that correct. The answer is, of course, REST. REST stands for Representational State Transfer. Northbound interfaces are REST APIs. So we're talking a little bit of software-defined networking here, right? We see some of that wrapped into this new CCNP Enterprise Blueprint as well. So REST APIs are going to use HTTP verbs to communicate with an SDN controller. We have the other options being Yang. Yang is a type of data modeling. OpenFlow is an example actually of a southbound interface. And JSON is a type of data formatting. So great job there. The majority looks like got that one correct. Here's our leaderboard. Great job, everybody, on that. Luke's still holding strong, gaining a little bit of ground there. All right, on to the next question. Question number 17. Which Puppet orchestration component is prepared for Puppet agents containing configuration changes that need to take place on a node? Fact, catalog, XML tag, or Yang status? And time is up. The correct answer is indeed catalog. So again, we're talking a little bit of programmability here. We see that wrapped into those new enterprise blueprints. And when we're talking about Puppet, we have some specific pieces that are referred to. The central Puppet server is what we call the Puppet Master. And the Puppet Master receives information about the Puppet agents, the Puppet agents being the client nodes, and that set of information that is received are referred to as facts. That's what we call those. These facts are used to compare the current state of all of those nodes to the desired configuration state. So in other words, they compare the current state of those nodes to see if any changes need to be made. And the Puppet Master will then prepare what's called the catalog, which contains configuration changes, and then it's going to make the catalog available to the Puppet agents, or to the client nodes, in other words. So great job there. Let's check out the leaderboard once again. And we still have Luke up top, looks like. I'll quickly scroll through just our top 25 or so, just in case you're curious about where your standings are. Again, all in good fun here. And there are our top 25 leaderboard. On to the next question. Question number 18. Which plane of Cisco's SD-WAN solution do we find the vManage interface? The data plane, the virtual administrator plane, the control plane, or the management and orchestration plane? All right, time is up. We had a very close decision between control plane and management and orchestration plane. And the correct answer is indeed the management and orchestration plane. That's where we find both the vBond solution, which is the orchestration and provisioning component, and we also see vManage in there, which is our graphical user interface. So vManage is what we would actually see presented to us on the screen, and that will allow us to perform configuration. We could perform monitoring, we could provision and troubleshoot from there as well. So again, another one of those new topics that we find in the CCNP Enterprise Blueprint, some Cisco SD-WAN solutions in there. So great job on that one. We'll check that leaderboard once again. And Robert is pulling up a little bit, I see, into second place, a little closer, making it a tighter race. On to question number 19. What's the default time to live value used with external BGP? Is it 0, 5, 2, or 1? Okay, our time is up, and the majority have chosen the correct answer, which is 1. So external BGP, or eBGP in other words, that requires two BGP-enabled routers to be directly connected to one another if we're going to properly establish a neighbor adjacency. And that's because the default TTL value for external BGP is, of course, 1, as we see here. When we do that, if we need to overcome that for some reason, there's a feature called BGP multi-hop, which will allow us to overcome the TTL value of 1 limitation, and we can configure actually a higher TTL value for certain cases where we might need that. So great job, everybody. Let's check out that leaderboard again. And there you have it. I'll give you a glimpse of that top 25 in case you want to know where you might fall within that top 25 standing. So there we are. Great job, everybody. On to question number 20. Which protocol is used to dynamically scale a network through use with dynamic multi-point VPNs? Is it NHRP, NBMA, NHC, or DNS? And time is up. Again, it looks like most of you folks got that one as well. The correct answer is, of course, NHRP, the next hop resolution protocol. So I think of this as functionally similar to how DNS works. This is kind of like an ARP-like protocol, if you will, and it's going to allow DMVPN spokes to directly communicate with one another. So this also is a client-server model. That's an important thing to note, where we have a DMVPN hub that's going to maintain an NHRP database, and it's going to have a database for each one of those DMVPN spokes that it's connected to. So it's going to allow the spokes to directly build tunnels between themselves rather than having to go all the way back to the hub router and send that traffic every time. So great job there. We'll take a quick look at our leaderboard once again. And not a whole lot of movement up top, but it looks like Luke is gaining just a little bit. So great job to everybody there. Scroll down and just, again, give you a glimpse maybe at that top 25. And there you have it. There are our top 25 or so players in the game so far. We got about 15 questions left. Again, lots of time to hang in there and overtake the lead, to move your standing around. So before we do that, I do want to, as I said, I see we do still even have folks joining, so that's amazing, joining the game. So thanks for doing that. As I said, we've kind of been focusing on CCNP Enterprise, and that's the whole idea behind doing this quiz, right? To hopefully give you an idea of how strong your skills are, or give you an idea of kind of where you stand with those, and to give you just some exposure to some of these topics that maybe you're interested in enterprise studies, but you've never jumped into that yet. So we'll talk a bit more through many more of these questions that we've got left, and explore some of those topics in depth. But I hope you've found this useful so far. And I will also mention, I didn't want to mention this up top because, again, we've never done this quiz event before, right? We didn't know how it was going to work functionally. I didn't know if it was going to completely crash. So I'm glad to see that things are working relatively smooth. But for the winner, at the end of the game, whoever the winner is, you can email us, and we'll give you a free KW Train sticker hot off the press. We've got some new stickers, so that's going to be your prize for today. If you don't win, or if you do win, I've got some other prizes for you. Good news in the form of sales. So I've got some really special sale pricing as we've been focusing on CCNP Enterprise. So I do want to briefly mention those before we jump in to the rest of our questions here. So let me get those up for you. A couple of our CCNP training products that we have Encore and Anarsi. Both of those, you can see the stats on those: 20 hours in Encore, 15 hours in Anarsi. Both of those cover all of the exam blueprint topics. They have labs included with them. Notice that we have viral labs with Encore. I do get questions about that from time to time, and that's because that was created before the new version of CML came out, but those are very easily imported into the new version of CML. They're completely compatible, so no issues with doing that at all. When we created an RC, CML had been released, so those already have CML labs included in there into that format. But again, either of these options, either of these labs are easily used within inside of CML. All those have quizzes at the end. All the videos are downloadable. You get lifetime access. You can download those for offline use as well. And here you can see our regular pricing on those. It's $3.99 each. Today we have a 25% discount at $2.99. You can find those at the links. I believe Miriam will pop those into the various chat engines that we have going here: kwtrain.com/encore-quiz and anarsi-quiz. So if you have one or the other, you're looking for a deal, or if you're just interested maybe in going for one or the other at the time being, those are the special pricing that we have on those. Again, a 25% discount. We also have the bundle at a better offer. We have the CCNP Enterprise Bundle, where you can get both of those regularly priced at $7.98. Today we have a 30% bundle discount at $558.60. So a great deal on that if you are jumping into CCNP and you have no exposure to it. You've never taken any training. This is going to be great for that. You can find that at kwtrain.com/bundle-quiz. So again, those URLs are Encore-quiz, Anarsi-quiz, and Bundle-quiz. And as we always like to do, if you buy today, during this live event, we always like to give bonuses if you've been around any of our live events. If you buy any of these products during this live webinar, during this live quiz, we're going to throw in all of these bonuses. Total retail value, $745. You're going to get both the Encore and Anarsi Masterclass, which are recordings from a live boot camp that we did for each of those classes. You're going to get a BGP crash course taught by the wonderful Anthony Sequeira, a great friend of ours here at KW Train. You're going to get Kevin's QoS Masterclass and the wireless crash course. So you're going to get basically two different Encore and Anarsi trainings and some of these specialty courses. So again, if you're interested at all, I'll scroll back through those. This is our bundle offer, bundle-quiz.com. Then we have Encore Dash Quiz and a NARCY Dash Quiz. So any three of these, you purchase any three of these items during the webinar today, once this live stream ends, I will go in and I will add all 5 of these bonuses to your account. So be patient with me, by the way. If you're making a purchase during the class, be patient with me until I can have time to go in and add those into your account. But I assure you that that will happen. And if you have any issues at all, of course, you can email me directly, charles@kwtrain.com, or you can reach us at support@kwtrain.com as well. So anyway, Miriam's going to pop those into the chat for us, those various links. And again, those free bonuses, those are going to go away once this live class ends. So any three of those purchases, you make one of those, you're going to get all these bonuses, an additional $745 retail value in celebration of our CCNP Enterprise Month. So definitely, if you've been on the fence about it, this is going to be an amazing way to get those CCNP skills and to learn those topics with interactive labs, with live videos, with quizzes, and with additional bonus courses. So I did want to throw that out there. And again, if you have any questions at all, you can email us. You can email support@kwtrain.com. You can email me, charles@kwtrain.com. So I hope you take advantage of that. I sincerely do. We love being generous. We love giving away free things and encouraging people to learn more. So if that's you, if you've been wondering if CCNP is right for you, I hope this pushes you over the edge and you decide to jump in. So let's finish out our quiz. And we got about 15 more questions left. So we'll jump in and get that going. Number 21, which standard port is used by Radius for authentication purposes? Is it 1812, 1813, 1642, or 1643? And time is up. The majority has it. It is indeed port 1812. Radius uses port 1812 for authentication. Port 1813 is used, but that is used for accounting. So some Radius servers, by the way, will also use 1645 and 1646. So you want to verify your server configuration if you're ever configuring Radius in a network. So it is possible to change those values, by the way, within Cisco IOS. Let's go to our leaderboard, see what we got happening here. So there is our leaderboard. On to question number 22. Which well-known port number is commonly used to move files and images between a Cisco router and a TFTP server? It is TCP 69. Is it UDP 69? Is it TCP 121 or UDP 121? And time is up. The answer is, of course, UDP 69. TFTP, which is the Trivial File Transfer Protocol, that is a standard that we use for transferring files. And this protocol uses UDP communication over well-known port 69, as opposed to something like FTP, which would use TCP for communication over well-known port 21. So the UDP communication used with TFTP, of course, makes this a faster method, but it also means that it's a more a less secure method. So great job there. And by the way, Luke, I don't know if you're watching on our website, if you're watching on YouTube Live, but you have fans on the YouTube side. I'll tell you, people are cheering you on, saying, "Luke, go take this exam right now." Somebody said, "I want to be like Luke when I grow up." So I hope you take that as a high honor. Let's check out the leaderboard and see if you are still earning that. And it looks like you are, Luke. So we got Luke, Robert, and Rob in our top 3. Great job there, everybody. On to the next question. Question number 23. Which syslog level will log at the warning level and also those considered to be more severe? Is it level 2, 3, 4, or 5? And time is up. And we have level 4 as our correct answer. So syslog levels are going to range from level 0 through 7. I always found that maybe a little bit counterintuitive because level 0 is the most severe level, maybe not the way that you would typically think about that. While level 7 is a debugging level. It's the least severe level. So warning conditions are going to be specified at level 4 security levels. When we configure a Cisco device to log syslog messages at level 4, it's going to mean level 4, and all of those numerically lower are going to be logged. So level 4 and more severe, or in other words, level 0 through 4 are going to be collected, ranging from emergency to warning. Great job there. Here's the leaderboard. And looks like Rob has pulled into second place. So got a little bit of movement happening. On to the next question. Question number 24. A floating static route has an administrative distance higher than 0, 2, 1, or 10. And the answer is, of course, 1 that we can see here. The default administrative distance of a static route is indeed 1. By manually configuring a static route with an administrative distance higher than 1, then we're creating what we call a floating static route. And that's useful in cases if we're trying to provide maybe a backup link to a primary route. So that would make sure that that particular route would not be installed into the routing table unless the route with a lower administrative distance actually went down. So an example of that I've done in some of my trainings would be maybe configuring a couple of ISP connections for redundancy, and we could use tracking objects to automatically switch between those in case of a failure. So great job there. And here's our leaderboard. Luke still holding his own. Rob in solid second place. On to the next question. Question number 25. What type of network is created when using SD-WAN to create a virtual infrastructure? Backhaul network, wide area network, underlay network, or overlay network? And time is up. The correct answer is, of course, overlay network. SD-WAN solutions are going to create a virtual overlay network that are built on top of the actual physical infrastructure. So the physical infrastructure is what we call the underlay network. The virtual infrastructure is the overlay network. A couple of examples of that would include maybe something like voice over IP. Virtual private networks are another example of that. So we're creating an overlay network on top of existing physical infrastructure. When we do that, With SD-WAN, it provides transport independence, meaning that the physical underlay network can be really any combination of protocols. You could use serial, wireless, MPLS. You could even use LTE, all kinds of things. So SD-WAN creates a single overlay fabric that's going to intelligently direct our traffic regardless of what that underlying or the underlying infrastructure is in the underlay network. Let's take a look at that leaderboard before we move on. And there we go. Luke hanging strong, still getting cheers from YouTube. Great job. On to question number 26. Which structure within Ceph is used to make IP destination prefix-based switching decisions? CAM, TCAM, FIB, or RIB? Time is up, and the correct answer, the majority have it correct. It is, in fact, FIB, the forwarding information base. The FIB table, with the FIB, Ceph is going to use this to make IP destination prefix-based decisions. The FIB is conceptually similar to the routing table, and it's going to maintain actually a mirror image of the forwarding information that's contained within the IP routing table. When we have our routing topology change, the IP routing table, of course, will be updated, and then those changes are going to be reflected over to the FIB, and the FIB is going to maintain next hop address information based on the information from the IP routing table. So good job there. Here's the leaderboard. And on to question number 27. OSPF can perform route summarization on an ASBR or an ABR. What command is used to summarize routes on an ASBR? Summary-address, route-map, area range, or area stub. And there's our timer. The correct answer is, of course, summary-address. OSPF route summarization is performed on an ASBR using that command. When we do that, as routes are being, we can perform summarization as those routes are being redistributed into OSPF from another autonomous system. And we do that with the summary-address command. Now, we can perform route summarization on an ABR as routes are being advertised from one OSPF area into another OSPF area, but that's accomplished using the area range command. So that is correct, everybody, or most folks. There's the leaderboard. Not a lot of movement up top. I'll give you a quick glance through those top 25 or so. And there we go. All right, on to number 28. Which type of switched port analyzer configuration uses generic routing encapsulation for traffic capture? Is it SPAN, ER SPAN, R SPAN, or GRE SPAN? There's our timer. That one looked to be a little bit tricky. We have a little bit of spread across the board here, but the majority do have that correct. It is, in fact, ER SPAN, which stands for Encapsulated Remote SPAN. That's a Cisco proprietary version of SPAN, and it's similar to RSPAN, but rather than using layer 2 switching as we see with RSPAN, ERSpan is going to use layer 3 routing to send traffic to a centralized server using GRE. So great job there. Here's the leaderboard. A little bit of movement there. Rob gained a little bit of ground on Luke, looks like. So let's go on to number 29. Which piece of an IPSLA configuration is an optional component? IPSLA source, IPSLA collector, IPSLA responder, or IPSLA listener? And there's our timer. The correct answer is IPSLA responder. So an IP service level agreement or IPSLA configuration requires an IPSLA source in order to generate packets, and those are going to be sent out to destination devices. Responses from the devices that are going to be coming back to the IPSLA source, they're going to have timestamp information, they're going to have other metrics about the device, and optionally, we can configure something like a remote Cisco router as an IPSLA responder. And that would allow us to send back more advanced or more detailed response metrics. And in fact, depending on what we're using IPSLA for, some of those operations are going to require a responder while others do not. So that's an optional piece. And here's our leaderboard once again. Rob gaining a few points on our leader, Luke. On to question number 30 of 36. NetConf supports what type of data formatting? XML, JSON, HTTP, or HTTPS? And there's our timer. The correct answer is XML. So NetConf, that's a protocol used to install, to manipulate, and to delete the configuration of network devices. And we typically do that over an SSH connection. So we can use that with something like Cisco IOS XE, and we can use network programmability to interact with devices. NetConf only supports XML data formatting, so this is one solution that we have for writing configurations to a network device in an automated way rather than requiring some manual configuration. Here's that leaderboard. Rob gained a little bit of ground. He gained a couple of points on our leader, Luke. So Henry pretty close behind there. Question number 31. Which of the following routing protocols supports the SHA hashing algorithm? EIGRP for IPv4, EIGRP for IPv6, named EIGRP, or all of the above? All right, our time is up. And the correct answer is named EIGRP. So named EIGRP supports both MD5 and SHA hashing algorithms. EIGRP for IPv4 and IPv6 only support the older MD5 hashing algorithm. So a little bit tricky there. Let's see if that affects our leaderboard at all. Gained a little bit of ground. All right. Got about 4 or 5 more questions left here. Let's see how it shakes out. Which of the following is a hashing option for OSPF version 3 address families authentication? DES, plaintext, AES, or SHA-1? And our time is up, and the majority has it. It is indeed SHA-1, Secure Hash Algorithm 1. SHA-1 and Message Digest 5 are the only hashing algorithms supported for OSPF version 3 address families authentication. So nice one there. Good job. Here's the leaderboard. And there's still time for some movement in those top 2 or 3. So let's jump into that next question, number 33. Which BGP feature allows us to reduce the number of BGP updates created, lowering resource usage on BGP-enabled devices? Peer group, multi-hop, route reflector, or summarization? And our time is up. The correct answer is peer group. BGP peer groups allow us to group neighbors together in order to share configurations and to share policies. And when BGP creates updates, a separate update is going to be created for each neighbor when we're not using a peer group. When we do use peer groups, they can simplify our configuration and they can use less device resources, since updates are going to be processed for the entire peer group as a whole rather than doing those for each separate neighbor. So another bit of a tricky question, admittedly, but again, you will see tricky questions on your CCNP exams. Let's take a look at that leaderboard to see if we have any changes there. And we are tightening up just a little bit here as we come down to our final 3 questions. Let's see what happens. Question number 34. Which type of network topology is most often found within a data center? Point to multipoint, spine leaf, 3-tier, or collapsed core? And the overwhelming response is spine leaf, which is absolutely correct. Data centers commonly use spine leaf design where we have a leaf switch that connects to multiple spine switches so that the leaf switch can reach any of the other leaf switches by transiting just that single spine switch. Point to multipoint, that's an older WAN technology that we see using frame relay or ATM. The 3-tier architecture is commonly found in enterprise networks consisting of the access, building distribution, and core layers. And then we have something called the collapsed core design that we commonly see in small to medium sized networks where the building distribution and the core layers are actually consolidated into what we call a collapsed core. So good job there. Here's that leaderboard. There you have it. I'll give you a quick scroll through the top 25 or so, just in case you happen to fall within that range and you're curious where you are. All right, on to question 35. Which QoS mechanism is most appropriate for giving priority treatment to voice or video packets? Is it CRTP, WRED, CBFWQ, or LLQ. All right, time is up, and the majority chose LLQ, and that is absolutely correct. Low latency queuing. That is actually an extension of class-based weighted fair queuing, or CBWFQ, that we see as one of our options. It's going to add a priority queue. Voice and video packets are commonly placed in LLQ's priority queue so that they can be sent ahead of other packet types, which is going to give priority treatment. It's going to give better performance. So great job there. Let's go on to the leaderboard. And we got a little bit of separation here. One more question left. Let's see how this goes. Number 36. Which switching mechanism is the default method in most modern Cisco IOS devices? Fast switching, Cisco Express forwarding, process switching, or slow switching? Time is up. And you see our correct answer is indeed Cisco Express Forwarding, or CEF. That's a preferred method in most modern iOS switches. It's the default method on most modern Cisco devices. CEF, of course, stores information in a route cache for optimized lookup, for efficient packet handling, and it's much less processor intensive than older mechanisms. It's going to reserve CPU power for other operations like encryption and quality of service. Okay, moment of truth, everybody. Let's check it out. Oh, wow, that was so close, but it looks like Luke pulled it out by 10 points. Nice job, Luke. Everybody give Luke a virtual applause. Great job there. Luke, shoot us an email. You can email charles@kwtrain.com if you'd like to. We'll get you your prize, your sticker prize, and we'll get that dropped in the mail for you. I want to say just how fun this has been today. Hey, listen, it's been super fun for me. Never done anything like this before. We've never done a live quiz, so I found it very enjoyable. I hope you found it super useful as well. Go back. We'll leave the replay up on YouTube most likely, so go back and watch that and maybe comb through those questions, and you can dig in a little more to that. But thanks so much for spending time out of your day to come and not only have some fun, but hopefully learn some things and to kind of judge where you're at on your CCNP abilities. So again, as we go here, I'm going to go ahead just reading through the chat here to make sure everything's good. And yes, somebody said everyone's a winner for showing up. Absolutely agree with that. Thank you so much for coming today and being here. I'm going to leave this. I know every time we do a live event like this and we do some sales, we always have folks who are paused and who kind of get behind in the video feed. So I'm going to leave up a 30-minute timer with a list of our deals here at the end that we've presented during this webinar. Once that 30-minute timer is over, the live stream is going to end, and all of these specials are also going to end. All of the specials that I mentioned, let's see if I can pull those back up here. So I've got the Encore-quiz, an RC-quiz. Those are the URLs for 25% off either of those training products. You can get the entire bundle at an even deeper discount at $558.60, kwtrain.com/bundle-quiz. So you can find all of those on those particular URLs that Miriam has pasted into those chat sections. So thank you so much for doing that, Miriam. And again, free with any of the purchases during the live event. I will add these bonuses in. I'll go in once this 30-minute timer ends, and I will add those into the relevant customer sections, and make sure you get access to those. Again, thank you so much for spending time with us today. Hey, if you enjoyed this, drop us a line and let us know. We'd love to know the reception if you enjoyed it, and maybe it will be something that we do again in the future. So it was super fun for me. It's always nice to try new things. So I had a lot of fun here. I hope you did as well. Again, I'll put this 30-minute timer up. Take advantage of some of these offers if you're interested. Have a great rest of your day and a great rest of your week. Thank you so much for spending time with us.